All right, welcome everyone to Anglo Nation South Asia. So excited to have everyone here. Happy Wednesday. I feel like we have a lot of new people join us today. So, welcome. I hope this is a regular thing. We love it when it is. And yeah, we also have Alvin to join us. Awesome. Yeah, people will keep joining us in, and anyone feel free to drop questions at any time in the chat. And for those of you who are new, we will let the host give her talk. And I'm sorry, I'm the host. We will let the presenter give her talk. And you can post questions in the chat or wait until the end to ask them. And we'll just have a fun conversation at the end, and then everyone can go do their own thing at the end. All right, GLAFIRA, take it away.
Thank you so much for the introduction. And yeah, I'm going to tell you about the accessibility in Angular Material Library. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows a lot about Angular and about Angular Material. I know about it like almost nothing because I'm not an Angular developer. I'm just a front-end developer, just like accessibility. So that's why I decided to share knowledge about the accessibility in this like really not small, but in this particular sphere, like in Angular. So let me a little bit introduce myself. As you know, my name is GLAFIRA. I am originally from Belarus, from Minsk, and now I live in Vilnius. It's Lithuania, pretty close to Minsk, but like less Belarusian, I would say. Um, yeah. So I work as a front-end team lead in a Spur IT company. It's not that big, like pretty small company, about 100 people in there. So, and we work with the e-commerce system called Shopify, pretty famous, and they really care about accessibility. So that's why I decided to to include all the accessibility stuff in our work. And actually, this is me who's feeding my team with accessibility every day, every second. I'm trying to teach them, to explain them everything. We all like every day we have some new stuff, accessibility stuff in our work. So yeah, trying to involve them, to how to engage them, and so on. Yeah, so a little bit more about me. I am an initiator of the Accessibility Club Minsk community. We really want to start our meetups in English one day. So if you feel like you need to to talk about accessibility somewhere, this is one more place you can do it. And we are we're really happy to invite you. So please don't hesitate to ask me for some advice or something like this. Also, I am a teacher at the Kurmak digital accessibility courses. They are like really great, and but they are more about Russian-speaking auditories. So we're trying to implement accessibility in their minds because it's pretty weak in our CIS community. And also I'm a program committee member of some meetups in Minsk and conferences like pretty famous, like Beer.js Summit, the best conference in this world. You can drink beer and listen to some GS talks. Great, great. Also, I am an ambassador of the incredible movement, Women Tech Makers. Women Tech Makers. It's Google's initiative. They provide some visibility for women in tech. So I am really excited about that movement. I'm new in it, and I'm trying to do my best. So I talk a lot with girls during my talks, like during my at some meetups, and they always ask how to start to perform, how to start to create some content. So this is about it, to show them some support, to show them some my own experience and so on. So I really like to share this, and I really want you to join. So please don't hesitate to ask again. So as I told you before, I know nothing about Angular. So in case I say something wrong, please just correct me. Yeah, but I know a lot about accessibility, and the first thing you need to know about accessibility is that you will see everywhere this hashtag like A11Y. So that's how it that's from it goes where. So yeah, it's about 11 letters between A and Y, of course. The main thing you need to know. So a little bit about the accessibility in general. We need some motivation to learn it, because still it's not that popular topic in our like development sphere. So we not think about it sometimes even at all. So yeah, so we need some motivation to understand how important that is. This is. So there is a number that there is about 50% of people with disabilities, like different type of disabilities in the world, and this number looks pretty small. But in case of the whole population, it looks pretty like huge. Now it's a huge number, like 1 billion and almost 200 millions of people with disabilities who really want to join your interfaces, to use your features, to buy something with the internet, so on. So, and they are how they can't do it for some reason, because your interface is somehow inaccessible. So and to this 15%, in this 15%, there are no people with temporary disabilities, like broken arm or some low vision, something like this, like high lightness outside, or like like bright sunshine and so on. So yeah, and this number grows, but we don't know about it, don't remember about it, and just do like we did all the time. Yeah, I am always the user of the last picture with the broken mouse. So when battery is low, I need to use my keyboard only to get some interface, to reach some interfaces. It's pretty difficult sometimes. Yeah, so, and there is a lot of like laws about accessibility you're obliged to use in your development, but still they are not that strict. But for example, in Russia, in USA, they are already works like really good. They work really good. You can complain, you can get some money from the company, which is not accessible. Sorry. Yeah, so in case you can't access their interfaces, of course you can do it, and it's kind of business there too, but won't talk about it. Also in Europe, it will be a requirement for all the digital resources from 2025. In Canada, it works already, but they are not that prepared as I see, but they are also pretty like slow in this. So they trying to do it right now, but they already like the law requires the accessibility in the digital resources, but they are not that like they don't care about it. It looks like this, at least, but they start to. So we get some orders like for audits to check the Canadians' websites. And in Russian Federation, there are some standards, but they are not that like strict, and they are only for the government resources. So, but we work a lot on it. So, in our interfaces, we have top priority issues, and I really want to go through them like really fast. But if you care about them, you provide better interfaces for your users by default. So you don't need like some extra libraries, extra accessibility things. If you care about these issues, you are on the top of the list, like of the accessible interfaces. The first thing is a page structure. It's important because when we create our interfaces, we actually think of them more in a components way, like we build everything with the components, we place them somewhere in the page, we work on a component, like particular one, and we forget about the page structure, like totally. But it still needs to be clear. Because for example, it's really important for a screen reader user. Screen reader is a soft which helps users to read all the elements on the screen. And screen reader is responding to the semantics of the elements, and it will read the semantic of the elements. So it's really important to use semantics. And the first thing screen reader reads is the title of the document. So you should have it like clear, unique, and so on. I won't stay here for long. Just we'll name some really important things. So the H1 is really important, but title is important, especially in single page applications, because we always forgot to change it. But we need to change it because screen reader user can get it like at any time. So just pressing one button. And the same with H1. We need to change it too when the page is changing. So we just need to think a little bit more about it in case of the SPA. So yeah, we need every page needs an H1. Also, we need to think about the logical heading structure. It's kind of an outline of the book. You need to remember that everything should be really clear, like feel like outline of the book. So the user will rely on this structure to use your page, to find some places at the page. So keep it clear. Please don't miss the headings, don't switch order of the headings, and so on. Also, we don't use landmarks because sometimes we just don't remember about them. Landmarks, it's header, footer, navigation, section, and some other landmarks. There is a small list, like you need to check it. So this is what about the page structure. Just keep it clear and try to draw it at least, so to get some understanding how user can see it. The next thing is the keyboard accessibility. The second thing I actually, this is the first thing I check on the website. When I go there, I open the website and then I use my tab key to go through all the interactive elements. And I need to see there the place where I am, like the focus of the keyboard should be visible, like really visible. It should be should have enough contrast. So you just make sure that you see where the focus is. Like, is it somewhere the header, in the header, like in the menu? It doesn't disappear somehow. Like so, yeah. You should check the visibility of the focus. The next thing is the logical focus order. Sometimes it confuses users because it goes somewhere to the bottom of the page, then to the top of the page, and so on. It's jumping somehow. So you really need to check the logical focus order. The next one is inaccessible controls. So if you can click the control, like the button or the input with the mouse, you should do the same with the keyboard. Like, and actually, first thing you need to do is check with the keyboard your every control which should be interactive. So we often use divs to create some interactive elements. So yeah, with keyboard you see that it's not accessible. You see there is no visible focus on this element, and so on. So you feel like something is wrong, and you go there and you see it's the div. So, but divs have no semantics, have no interaction with keyboard, and so on. But all the native interactive controls have it by default. So yeah. There is no possibility to skip navigation. For example, you have a huge navigation at the top of your website, and sometimes, not sometimes, but it's a good practice to use some things called skip links. So the first thing you get with the keyboard is a skip link. It appears on the top of the screen, and it sends you to the main content of the page, and it skips all the navigation. So it's pretty useful. If you want to check it, just go to Google page, type some search query, and then like all the results appear, and then you press tab and you'll see these skip links. They will appear somewhere near the search results. There are 3 at least, and they will move you to some place in a content, so like particular place. You don't like tap through all the interface. The next one is the keyboard traps. It's pretty, it's a huge pain when your focus is trapped somewhere, for example, in some field. Like it's pretty common for some fields with extra JavaScript. For example, the date field sometimes has a lot of JavaScript, and you go through the form, you go to this date field, and then you can do nothing with it. You can't leave it, you can't type some data, you can't use some data from the, for example, from the pop-up calendar or something like this. So this is a keyboard trap. So the only thing you can do is reload the page, but it won't help you because you still need to go through all this form. You have no possibility to skip this particular field. So yeah, no keyboard traps, and you can easily check your interfaces for it. So this is what about the keyboard accessibility. The next one, labels. There are some problems with labels. Let's do it a little bit faster. All the interactive controls, every interactive control should have a label. Like it should be clear, it should be short, it should be unique for this particular control. So yeah, the next one is we can add some visible label under the control, above the control, but it won't be programmatically connected to this control. For example, we have a field and we need to add some extra label there. We just put some span above the control, and that's how it works. Like span will show the text and then it will be the label, but in case your user is focusing the input, they won't hear any information about it because the label is not connected with the field. So you need to connect them programmatically, and you can do it in many, at least 3 ways. So, and the best way is use native controls, native labels to connect the label with the input and with any interactive control. Labels are long and redundant sometimes. It's just from practice, so you need to check them to understand, are they comfortable for the user or not. Labels are not unique. It's too common, for example, for some landing pages where you have a lot of forms and they are similar. So in this case, labels are not unique, but I actually don't know how to fix it without removing the extra forms and leaving just one. But no one, like designers don't like it, marketing managers don't like it. So yeah, we need to manage it somehow. Also, visually hidden labels. Sometimes the label is hidden from the user, like to how say. It was created specially for the screen reader users. In this case, it was hidden with some bunch of styles, which are not removing these labels from the content, but hiding them. And the label is still available for all the technologies, for screen reader, for search engines, and so on, even for a browser search. When you press like Control F and search the page, this text will be available, but they won't be visible, so it can confuse the sighted people. So they know there is some label, but they just don't see it. So you should be really careful with such kind of labels.
Hey, GLAFIRA, are we
Yep.
allowed to interrupt you, or should we save questions for the end? Because Valentine had a question about the labels.
Of course.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Val.
Thank you very much. And I was supposed to be in another meeting by 2:30. Thank you for accepting my questions. Okay, first of all, the label here, the name, email, phone, is it possible for us to remove them? And in place of the placeholder, something like your name, your email, we put the labels in there. So it won't be like a placeholder, but we use CSS to put the name in there. That's the label in there, because probably want to manage space and we don't want to have, is that okay with that helping accessibility too, or are we going to be breaking anything if we do that?
It's okay as long as you move it somewhere after the focusing in the field. So
Okay.
it shouldn't disappear. It should stay visible at the screen. And especially in Angular material, they almost invented this idea to move labels somewhere, down, like somewhere down in the field or up in the field, and it stays visible. It stays connected with the field, but it just moves somewhere. So it would be a kind of a solution for your question. And yeah.
Okay, thank
it's
you.
possible. Yeah.
Then lastly, I can see the required star or asterisk. Is that also for accessibility too?
It's a tricky question actually, because accessibility doesn't like this asterisk as a required indication. So we really need to add some extra text to this asterisk, or hidden text to let screen reader know that this is required. Or so we have some list of solutions. It could be a text, like really real text name required in brackets, for example. It could be a hidden text for the asterisk to let screen reader know about it, or it can be a kind of a label at the very start of the form that will explain this asterisk. For example, all the fields marked with asterisks are required, something like this. But this is a tricky point, and there are some articles about it I can find after all and share it with you, so you'll check it. Especially there is an article from the Nielsen group. They are designers and they really like interfaces that think about accessibility, so you can Google and add this Nielsen group to the search request, and you'll find some nice ideas about this.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Bonnie, too.
Yeah, not at all. So let's continue then. The next thing which is really important is a color and contrast at the page. So when you see the page with really, my friends say it's a sexy gray, she means that the designers really like this light gray colors everywhere, like to show some background for the element, to show some text on the white background, but it doesn't work at all useful for people with like with low vision, for example, and for me too, because you see, I wear glasses, and when I close my left eye, I see almost nothing with my right eye. So I can check all the interfaces by myself. Yeah. So what's important to check for the color and contrast? First, it's a poor color contrast. We have it almost at all almost all the interfaces, so we need to check them. We can check them with some tools, so we can we can do it automatically. The next thing, it's more about colors. So there are people with color blindness, and it's about one from 12 men has color blindness. Even in our auditory, maybe we have someone with color blindness. So it's pretty useful. The word is I forgot the word. So it's really important to check your red-green pairs and blue-yellow pairs of colors when you need to highlight something with green to say it's active, and to hide all the elements with red, they are inactive or something like this, inaccessible, I mean disabled or something like this. So you should think twice about it, about these color pairs. The next thing is the most frequent thing is color is the only way to convey information. It means that if you have, for example, form with some validation, and the only way you show that the field is wrong is the red border, in this case, you can lose some people with some color blindness because they don't understand the meaning of this red color. They have no idea about red, for example. So for them, there will be a bunch of fields with the same border, like brown, 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 brown. But one of them is red because it's, for example, required or something like this. So you need to add some extra things to the colors, for example, some message or some sign, like I don't know, yeah, so some icon. So color shouldn't be the only way to show something. Yeah, this was about colors. So let's go closer to our Angular topic, actually. I really hope I have time for it.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We're
yeah.
listening.
You're doing such a good job.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. So let's speak about tools and resources we need to build our accessible interfaces. And first thing, I mean, not but you need, if you want to build something with Angular material, is actually Angular material library. And we'll go through the accessibility features of it now. The second thing is still HTML, CSS, so you still need to build all the layout of your application, so you still need to code something. So yeah, please use HTML and CSS. Also, I'll show you a little bit the standards we use in accessibility to make our resources better. And of course, you need your head on your shoulders. It's really important to think about some things sometimes during the development, even if they are not required when you're developing your interfaces. So please use it. It's useful. So about Angular material. This is a UI library you can import to your project. Angular project, for example, yeah, they have a few implementations for different, not few, they have actually many implementations for different library, for different frameworks. There is the same for React. Yeah, so check them, and the idea will be almost the same. So first thing, you have a lot of components there, so please use these components. Please, in case you need to create something, please start with the components already implemented. Don't implement something new, something like you would say it will be like easier, cheaper for you to implement something new. But in this case, please just check the components, because they are already pretty accessible. Angular Material is the example of the accessible library. So, the first thing that it uses native elements. So in case you use some button and they write it like there in documentation that they use native buttons, links, and so on. So this is provide the most accessible experience for the user. So they already think about it, they use it. So please check and use the native controls. This is the best way to reach the keyboard accessibility, at least, because native controls have it already, like by default. So this is the example of the native element. So you can use the material component, and it will include the input inside it, so it's accessible already. The next one is that not only native elements, but they also implemented some accessibility already. For example, you have an input field, type email, and you want to show an error message. In case of accessibility, you need to connect this error message with this field. Because when the screen reader goes to this field, it knows nothing about the error message under this field. And that's why we need to connect it somehow. And there is no like way in our usual HTML, but there is a special standard way area. And we have all these area tags. And Angular Material adds them like by default. So this is the field I use in my code, like I write it in my code, and this is the rendered one. It renders a lot of unusual for you attributes. For example, area described by, area invalid, area required. Let's take a look on this area described by. So you have an input email, and you have a label, like not a label, but an error message, and you need to connect them to each other. So you use area described by attribute in the input field, and you leave here an ID of the element which will be connected to this input. So this is our error field, error text. So that's how you can connect the error text to the label, to the input, with this area described by attribute. So, and it adds some like area invalid, area required. It only do it for the screen reader to give to it an understanding. And screen reader will read this like this is an input, then it will read required, then it will read invalid in this case, because it's invalid, there is an error, and then it will read the message, please enter a valid email address. So somehow like this it works. Of course you need to test it to go deeper, but just don't be afraid of these area attributes. like default area attributes. Don't remove them, please, because when Bootstrap was implemented all this area stuff, everyone started to remove it from the Bootstrap because they didn't know what was this. So yeah, but it's for the screen reader. Or for some other like technologies who provides accessibility to the user. So the next thing is actually a great document authoring practices, accessibility authoring practices. If you need to implement some control, it doesn't matter where, like in Angular, in your native CSS, if you need to create some control that doesn't exist as a native control, so you need to go first there, and there will be all the things you need to add to this control. For example, for model windows, we have to add focus strap inside the window, the area attributes to let the screen reader know that it was a model window. So yeah, a lot of things, a lot of like accessibility stuff. Let's take a look a little bit how it works in the Angular material. So you have a dialog component, and it already works like really good according to this best practices. You have a button to open the dialog, and in the dialog template you already have this H1 tag. It doesn't matter, like it matters about the level of this tag. Like it's better to have it like H2, but there are some conclusions about it, but I won't go further with them. Just check which level you need. So yeah, and there is a dialog content, some content, and also some actions you need to add there, like okay, clear something, or cancel this dialog, so on. And what will be rendered? There will be a dialog container. There will be an area model attribute set to true, and it will say to the screen reader when the dialog is open and when the focus is inside the dialog, it will say to the screen reader that it's a model window. So screen reader will read something like dialog was opened, and then it will read the H tag from this dialog because it was connected to the container of this dialog. Also, it needs a role dialog because screen reader know nothing about this tag, like mat dialog container. Also, screen reader knows nothing about diffs. Screen reader always needs some semantic. And the role attribute is the way to add some semantics. For example, you can't change the tag of your button. You have only possibility to add some attributes to it. For example, it was like real legacy or something like this. I had such kind of project. But you still need to add some semantics to this like button. So you add the role button, and that's how screen reader will know that this is the button and what to do with this button. So yeah, in case we have no special semantic for like tag, so we can add some semantics with this role attribute. And in case with the dialog, we have kind of a dialog in HTML, but it doesn't work well. So we need to implement our own. In this case, we use this role. Yeah, and we connect the dialogs heading with the dialog container using area labeled by tag attribute. So this will be rendered without your like help. You won't need to do something. So this was about the best practices. They are already implemented for all the components in Angular material. The next one, every component has some accessibility recommendations, so please check them in case you need to build this component somewhere in some place and you need to add some extra semantic, or you need to get some explanation about the accessibility of this component. So please check this section. Almost every component has this section. So the next thing you have in the Angular material is CDK. It's a component dev kit. You need to import it, of course, to your project, and then you can use some cool features. Let's check them. First one is the list key manager. It's pretty difficult to explain it like in a good way in this case, because it's a big idea of it. But if you need to implement some custom list, and you need to add some keyboard navigation to it in Angular material, you can do it easily with the list key manager. So you have two implementations of this key manager, and they works in a different way with the keyboard especially. So I won't show you this, but to say it like in short words, the first implementation, like the focus key manager, will move focus to the container of the list, and then you'll change the active element with your arrow keys, and it will say the active element to the screen reader using the special in case of the focus manager, it will set the focus to the active element and will say to the screen reader the focused element. But in case with the active descendant key manager, it will set the special area attribute to the container, and when this attribute is changed, then it will read the active element, but focus will stay on the container if I don't like miss something. So, but you need to check it anyway, and for me it was pretty difficult to to create some list for myself, because I know nothing about Angular, so it was really difficult to find some examples, like working examples of it. But yeah, I give you some links, and I'll send you the link to this presentation, so you'll check. But it works only when you need to create your own list, because Angular material already has lists, so you can use them, and it will be implemented there already. The next thing, pretty useful, is a focus monitor. It's useful when your designer creates some when you ask them to draw a focus state of the element, but they don't want it at the website, like when you click the element with the mouse, and they want it only when with the keyboard focus. So this focus monitor checks if your element was focused with the keyboard, and then it adds some styles according to it. It has some classes like in CSS, so you can use them in CSS, and you can add some extra styles if it was focused with keyboard. But in case it was focused with mouse, it won't add any styles by your will. I mean, because if you want to show some styles, of course you'll add them. So yeah, this is pretty useful in case you have incredible design and you want to, to make everything ugly with the mouse or something like this. But not you, but designers, for example. Yeah, so really cool thing.
Quick thing.
Sorry? Yeah.
So we do have about 10 minutes left. I just wanted to do a quick time check with you. I feel like you might have more slides, and that's okay. We could do it like a part 1, part 2 of your talk unless you feel like you would be able to finish your slides in 10 minutes. I don't want you to.
I'll finish in 5 minutes, let's say.
Okay, I mean, I don't want you to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's yeah, I felt it like pretty long stuff, but I wanted to be
No, I mean, this
faster.
is all really interesting and really important, but I mean, yeah, you don't have to rush through it.
Okay.
You're welcome to come back and give us the second part. Also, like Aditya had a question.
And can I just say, I have to leave at the top of the hour because I have a hard stop at the top of the hour, but this was a really good talk. I know it's not done yet, and I'm going to stay for the rest of it, and we're also recording it, so it's okay if you go a couple minutes over, but I really hope that we see more talks from you because you're amazing.
Oh,
And,
thank you so much.
Don't let it go to your head, GLAFIRA.
Yay. Thank you. So yeah, let's continue like really fast. There is some slides, but I won't stay for long on them. I will ask you to check some things. So in this case, please check focus monitor documentation. Also the focus trap, I already told you about it, but in case you need to add it somewhere, for example, to the model window, you need to trap your focus inside the model window and don't let it to go somewhere to the page, like accidentally. So you have this incredible thing. You can just add this focus trap directive to your tag you want to have focus inside, and it will add some extra things and it will trap your focus inside this tag. So easy, really. Yeah. The next thing is Interactivity Checker. In case you need to add some extra styles or do some extra actions when your interactive elements are disabled, focusable, tabbable, or visible. So in this case, you can use this Interactivity Checker, and it's how to say? Oh my God, properties, I would say. Yeah, so in case of the visibility, it will check if this is a display non-hidden or visibility hidden. It won't check the other ways to hide element. So, and there is some other ways. So yeah, check it too, please. The next thing is live announcer. It's pretty special for accessibility. Sometimes there are some elements appearing on the screen accidentally, and for example, the blind user won't have an idea about these elements, so we need to announce them somehow. So this is how we can do it with this live announcer. It will the screen reader user will go through the page, all the text will be read it with the screen reader, and then when some announcement is appearing, the screen reader will stop reading the thing it reads now, and it will read the announce. So it's pretty useful, but you shouldn't use it everywhere, please. Yeah, be careful. The next thing is visually hidden. Sometimes we the best way is to explain this idea of visually hidden is icon buttons, because we need some text inside these icon buttons for screen readers, especially because when they appear at the button, they read nothing. They read only button and they don't know about the icon. So we need to add some text there. And the best way is to add some visually hidden text. It will be like it will be hidden only visually, of course. Yeah, so you can use this class to this mixin to and add it anywhere you need to hide some text from the sighted user, but add it for the blind, for example, user. So yeah, just add this class. The next thing is high contrast mixin. You can check the in Windows we have this high contrast mode. You can check your interfaces. You can switch it on and check your interfaces. Some buttons will disappear, for example, because they have no borders. So we need to add these borders, of course, but how to check? You can check it with the mixin and add some styles in case this mode is on. Yeah, so it works something like this. So for this high contrast mode, you add some outlines for the buttons, for example. So yeah, this was almost everything about, almost all about the accessibility features in Angular material. Please check them, please use them, and yeah, be as native as possible, I would say. And this is the way to be native, is using the HTML semantics. So please check all the semantics tags, like they are pretty new, or not that new actually, but yeah, we only start them use them now. CSS, we have some things in CSS which help us to hide some elements from the screen reader. It's display none and visibility hidden. They will totally hide all the content from the screen reader. And also we have the visibility hidden class. You have it in Angular material, I told you before. So it will hide elements only visually. So they will be available for the screen reader, but not for the user. This is how this class looks like, just to show you. And yeah, the small summary here is please use semantics, please build a good document outline. It's pretty important. Use native controls and use CDK features if you need them. And may the force be with you, of course. Yeah, this is what I wanted to let you know. And also a little bit of additional extra materials. It's about our standards we use during the accessibility development. You can check them too. I won't stay here for long. So the current version is 2.1, and there are some more versions. And also there is a pretty nice interactive resource to check how to meet these standards. So you can choose there the version of the standard and some special filters and check all the requirements. Yeah, this is the slide about auto testing. You can use some plugins or some built-in tools in Chrome, for example. And checklists, of course. Yes, if you want to check your website for accessibility, like fast, and get better understanding of your pages. Thank you. This is all I have for today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know that you had raised his hand, so we can. Oh yeah, I was gonna do that again, Bonnie, but okay.
I'm sorry. Well, I have to go. I have another meeting in 2 minutes, so I'm going to leave. I'm going to miss Aditya's questions, but I just want to say that was amazing. GLAFIRA, I love you. I hope we see more of you. And I got to go. Thank you, Ankita. I'm sorry I'm missing the end part, but I'll see you all soon. Love you. Bye. Bye, Connie. Bye, everybody.
Yeah. All right, Aditya, go ahead with the question.
Yeah, so it was a wonderful talk. So I'll start with that. And I had the question in my mind when I saw the first part when you talked about semantics, right? We have this footer, header, and I don't know. Every time I write a card or something, I have this question in my mind. I keep checking them in Google, but I don't get a proper answer. So can we actually use multiple footers and headers in a page? Say, for example.
Yes,
in a card.
Yes, we
where
can.
We have,
but in this case, only the footer and header inside the body tag will count as the landmarks, but not the other tags, other footer and header tags. And you need to wrap them with some semantic tag, for example, article or section, to hide it from the validator, because a validator will count them as extra, redundant footer and header inside the body in case they are not wrapped with some semantic container. So you need still to keep one header and footer inside the body, but you can have more, but only inside some extra semantic element, for example, article or section. So in case of cards, you can use article because it's pretty common to use article as a card wrapper.
Okay. Yeah, thanks.
Not at all.
I see Tom has also raised his hand.
Yeah, hi GLAFIRA. Just wondering, do you have any recommendations or how do screen readers handle charts? Like if I have a simple bar chart, does a screen reader even try and do anything with it, or can you add descriptions to it or something?
So for web, the best solution now is to use some kind of the other implementation of the chart, for example, to provide the same data inside the table above the chart. So in this case, it will work for the screen reader, but you know, there is some new stuff in iOS ecosystem for the charts, so maybe you can check them, but I'm pretty sure that, we can't implement them in web like easily. We need to take the idea and to implement it somehow in web again. So they have sounds to highlight the chart values, and it's cool. It looks really cool. Just check. It was announced at the last conference, like from Apple. I forgot the name of the conference, sorry. So
okay.
Yeah, please check. But for the web charts, for now we have only the alternative way to show the data somehow to the screen reader, for example, with tables, or some to invent some like general idea of this chart and describe it in text, for example. So this is the only way to show the accessibility for the charts.
Okay,
unfortunately.
great.
Yeah, not at all. I sent my slides to the chat, so
yeah,
please
thank
use
you.
them.
Did anyone have any other questions? If not, oh, Rob, you did have a question? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I get confused most of the time, like what to use when I'm building a structure in HTML. Most of the time I just use divs and span and maybe the occasional anchors and buttons. But is there a requirement like to make sure that I use specific tags when I'm building an application?
There is no requirement for it, but it would be great to use some semantic text to create a better structure of your page, because the screen reader can open the window, the screen reader user, I mean, can open the window provided by screen reader with all the document structure, and it will show the structure of the page in case you use the landmarks tags, for example, headers, sections, footers, navigations. It will show the structure and in text, so the user can go directly to this particular landmark, because screen reader understands them. And also the screen reader user can press the D key, for example, the NVDA screen reader user, they can press only one key to go through all the page with one key. So, but section by section, landmark by landmark, they can go to right to the some navigation block or to the footer or so on, and screen reader will read the idea of the element. So it will say like region for sections, so it will say region, or it will say navigation, and then you can add the name of this navigation with some special area attributes. For example, like it will say navigation main or navigation footer, and not footer, footer in case you set the label as footer. So it's the easiest way for screen reader user, easier way to use your page. But it's not like really required. It's just comfortable for the user.
Okay, thank you so much. You were great.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if anyone has any more questions, you won't mind them reaching out to you on Twitter or...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because we are a little bit over time, but I really appreciate everyone staying. And I appreciate for this very informative, because accessibility for me is like, it feels like a warm big hug, like someone's caring. And if your code, through your code, if you can show that you care for people, not just for yourself for whom you're writing your code, I think that's a really great way of just coding. But also it's a great way, it's a great mindset to have. So I learned a lot. I'm sure everyone else also learned a lot. And this is super helpful. We have been using Angular material at my workplace for a long time, I love how, without doing anything, just because we're using those material components, we get accessibility out of the box. So I don't know if Kendo UI, because I haven't used those. I don't know.
No accessibility in Kendo UI. It has a lot of issues with especially focus traps. Oh my god. Yeah, sorry.
It's okay. Alyssa will be here soon, right? Maybe we can ask her later. Alyssa Michael.
I'm sorry. It's just a bad experience. I'm sorry.
So I mean, can't thank you enough for educating everyone about this. Now we know why you're a front-end expert. Like, no doubts about that. I think you're really great. I would encourage everyone to just come out of mute, if not, and also turn on your cameras if you can, and just say a big thank you to GLAFIRA for taking the time and teaching us. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was so great.
Oh, so nice. Thank you. Oh, nice. Очень приятно. Thank you all for having me. This was a great experience.
For everyone else for whom it was the first time, do come back for more such educative, informative talks. Alternate Wednesdays between Connie and I, we host Angular South Asian, Angular APAC. So always something new to learn here. And GLAFIRA, I hope we'll see you again sometime for more fun tidbits on more new topics. Even if it's not in English, we don't care. We would just
someone to translate.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these apps have that translate button that you could just hit, and it just gives you the transcript, and you can just
accessibility.
Exactly, and like we live in 2021. There's no reason why a language should be a barrier for us. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, all right. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Hope to see you guys tomorrow. Gigam and Mina will be at Angular Nation.
Okay, yeah. So
hope to see you guys tomorrow.
All right.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Sable.
Bye.